General Hospital will reveal that in Port Charles, a small town filled with hidden threats, the people are accustomed to covert battles and the turbulence of the criminal world. Organized crime has long been the backbone of the stories here, with Sonny at the center of power and influence. However, no one can remain at the top forever, especially when the price becomes increasingly high. Behind the mafia boss's glamour lies heavy loss of family, health, and even his own soul. When Sonny decides to step away from the life he's led for nearly his entire existence, it not only changes his life but also causes Port Charles to face an uncertain future. Sonny, once proud of his ability to control everything, now finds himself forced to face the harsh reality. His deteriorating health, especially heart issues, has become the most obvious sign that he no longer has the strength to continue his dangerous lifestyle. The loss of Morgan, his most beloved son, remains a constant ache in his heart. Along with that are other tragedies, endless family tensions, the threats to his loved ones, and increasing dangers from his enemies. All of this has led him to a major crossroads in his life, a decision he never imagined making, to abandon power, leave the mafia world, and seek a peaceful life. But Sonny's departure is not a simple, gentle goodbye. It is the result of a long journey filled with conflicts, pain, and self-reflection. He spent his life building the mafia empire, not only for power but also to protect his family and loved ones. But now, with his health failing and irreparable losses, Sonny is forced to face a bitter truth. Continuing this path will not only destroy him but also put his family in constant danger. On a rainy night, when the dim lights in his office were nothing more than faint reflections of the power years gone by, Sonny had an honest conversation with Jason, his right-hand man, a brother not by blood but bound more deeply than any biological family. Jason silently listened as Sonny first admitted he could no longer go on. Sonny's voice was low and trembling, not just from the pain of the years past, but also from the fear of the future, a future where he is no longer the leader. He spoke of Morgan, the times he watched Michael get pulled into danger, of Carly and Ava, the women who had endured and sacrificed so much for him. Sonny was no longer sure whether everything he had done was worth it. Jason, though rarely showing emotion, could not hide his shock. He knew Sonny had endured much, but hearing these words from someone he had always seen as invincible felt like a steel wall slowly crumbling. For Jason, Sonny was not just a leader, but a support, someone who had shaped the path he walked. If Sonny truly walks away from it all, what will happen to Jason? His unwavering loyalty had been built on trust in Sonny and the shared goal between them. But now, with that goal gone, Jason had to face a big question: what would he do next? The explosion at Sonny's penthouse became a wake-up call for both of them. In the moment when everything was engulfed in smoke and debris flew everywhere, Jason realized that this life is not just about personal sacrifice but also about the constant threat to those he loves. He thought about Sam and their children, Danny and Scout, children who deserved a life free from the shadows of the past. He also thought about Sonny, who had lived too long in isolation and danger, despite the tough exterior. In the days after the explosion, as the city fell into tension, Jason began to seriously think about the future. For the first time, he worried not just about Sonny, but about himself. The connection with Anna and the offers from the WSB made him consider a new path, a place where he could use his skills without facing betrayal or danger from hidden enemies. But this was not easy. Leaving the mafia was not just about closing a door, but facing consequences he could not predict. Old enemies, hidden secrets, and the identity that had been his for so many years, all of these would be ghosts haunting his new journey. The conversation between Sonny and Jason didn't end with a clear decision, but with an unspoken promise. Sonny promised that if he left, he would do everything in his power to protect Jason and his family. As for Jason, even though he knew the future was uncertain, he committed to always stand by Sonny, no matter how different their paths might be. It was a wordless farewell, a sign of a profound shift in their relationship and lives. And although no one knew what the future would hold, one thing was certain: neither of them would walk away without leaving a lasting mark on the history of Port Charles. Anna's appearance, once a friend and ally of Jason, opened up a new opportunity. As a seasoned WSB agent, Anna saw potential in Jason becoming part of this international organization. For Jason, joining the WSB was not just an opportunity to leave the darkness behind but also a chance to use his skills and experience in a different context, a place where justice was the guiding principle. Led by new ideals and influenced by Anna, Jason began to seriously consider joining the organization, where he could contribute without the pressure of the criminal world. Meanwhile, Port Charles seemed to be on the brink of a major transition. Sonny's abandonment of power didn't mean that all dangers would disappear. On the contrary, the power vacuum he left could become the spark for new battles. Who would rise to replace Sonny? Could Carly, his ex-wife, uphold the legacies Sonny left behind? Or would Michael, the son who once rejected a criminal career, get drawn into the game? All these questions made the small town restless, even with Sonny choosing to leave. Sonny's new life, if it could even be called new, was also full of challenges. He not only had to adjust to a slower pace of life but also find a way to balance his relationships with loved ones. For someone who had spent his life controlling and protecting, letting go was not easy. Sonny knew that even though he had stepped away from the mafia, his past would always follow him. Old enemies, unpaid debts, all could return at any moment. Port Charles would change too. As the mafia story fades into the background, new struggles would come into the spotlight, where WSB could become the center of attention. Jason, along with Anna and other agents, would lead viewers into the world of secret missions, global political conspiracies, and unpredictable dangers. This was not just a shift in the storyline, but a major turning point in reshaping the entire program. Sonny's departure was not just a personal decision but the culmination of a series of events and inner turmoil that had stretched over many years. Once a symbol of power and dominance in Port Charles, Sonny built his mafia empire with both wisdom and decisiveness. However, behind the curtain, there was a man who was beginning to feel the weight of responsibility and the cost of what he owned. From the tragic death of Morgan, family rifts, to his declining health, all served as warning bells that he could not remain at the top forever without suffering. The conversation between Sonny and Jason took place in the suffocating space of a quiet evening, with the weak light from a desk lamp reflecting on the tired face of the mafia boss. Sonny admitted that he could no longer bear the weight of this empire, not just for himself, but for those he loved. He spoke about the sleepless nights thinking about Morgan, Carly, Michael, those who had suffered so much because of him. It was not just a confession, but also a haunting farewell, as he had to face the reality that he was no longer the invincible figure he once was. For Jason, this conversation was not only a shock but a turning point in his life. Jason, who had always stood by Sonny as his loyal right hand, had never imagined a future without Sonny at the center. He understood the strain Sonny was enduring, but seeing the person he had always respected and depended on now show vulnerability left him confused. The terrifying explosion at Sonny's penthouse only heightened Jason's unease. It was not just a reminder of the dangers they always faced, but also a sign that they could no longer live in a cycle of violence and vengeance. Jason thought about Sam, Danny, and Scout, the children he longed to protect. He thought about the times he had faced death and wondered if it was worth risking it all for a path that led to no escape. When Anna approached him with the offer to join the WSB, Jason realized that this might be his chance to turn a new page, where he could use his skills to protect justice instead of being sucked into the darkness. However, he also understood that leaving the mafia was not an easy task. Old enemies, unresolved grudges, and the identity that had been with him for years would always be shadows lurking. Jason knew that Sonny's departure would leave a huge gap, not just in the criminal world but in his own life. But for the first time in many years, he had to ask himself, does his loyalty to Sonny mean sacrificing himself, or is it time to find his own path for himself and his family?